This is Professor Tom Lumpkin from Syracuse University, visiting us for an entrepreneurship conference and very much interested in applying entrepreneurial orientation to the whole concept of aging well. Tom, what really fires you up in regard to your interest in the aging well of the boomer generation?
Well, there's a number of things. One of them is that I am one, and so I'm concerned with what the rest of my life is going to look like. But I also see, from my experience in researching entrepreneur and owning a couple of businesses, and of course knowing entrepreneurs, that they have a lot of life and a lot of energy and a lot of spirit in them that I think could translate or be adopted by many others. In other words, what it takes to be an entrepreneur, it seems to me, could be useful for other people who are seeking to live well.
And that, of course, it is aging well. It's how we can still be relatively independent. One of the issues here in Australia is that the government wants to keep people in independent living as long as possible because it's a lot less expensive. So perhaps you might identify one or two examples from your entrepreneurial experience in the US of how people have enhanced their individuality in terms of independence of living.
Well, certainly the experience of being more autonomous is one that enables someone to have control over their life and to not be dependent on other people. There are, I'm sorry, are you asking for examples of entrepreneurs or?
Examples from your experience, whether they're entrepreneurs or otherwise. In other words, they've done great things that facilitates their capacity to live well and yet enhance their individuality so they're not dependent to be put in care.
Right. Well, I do think that there are many examples of people who have, it is because that they have remain engaged in life in one way or another that have prevented sort of the downward spiral that makes them more dependent and more fearful and more wary, overly cautious, and that sort of thing. So there are a number of, I mean, I can think of people who have continued to run businesses, such as my father-in-law. He was a business owner who sold his business at the age of 74. And after 3 years of playing rummy at the country club with his friends, he said he was bored. And at the age of 77, he went out and bought 11 building lots and started building houses, which he did for the next 13 years until he was 90.
Wonderful.
And so it was a way for him to remain engaged.
Right.
But even things as simple as, getting out and taking a walk, or working a crossword puzzle, doing things that are engaging, and these are the things that I think contribute to a much more healthier lifestyle. And to the extent that that kind of approach can be married with things like being creative, being inventive, seeking out opportunities to do things that maybe you never did when you were younger, these are all kinds of things that I believe contribute to healthy aging.
Well, you're a boomer coming along. How do you plan your retreading, as you called it in our discussions earlier, as soon as you retire officially from the university, if you ever do?
Well, to tell you the truth, I am someone who sees. I don't think I want to be a professor still at 75 or 80 myself. I think I would like to try new things.
Good.
And do things that I haven't done before. Part of the reason I got into this profession is because I love to write, and I have a stack of writing projects that I would like to pursue, and so I see an ideal for me would be to do more writing, but to have that be writing that would enable me to come to Australia and give a talk, or go to a bookstore and give a talk, be engaged in ways with that kind of work that we're continuing to make a contribution to the community.
So you're really making an important aspect that as you in that retreading stage, your capacity to give of your experience so that others can benefit is part of what motivates you.
That's right. It most definitely is, and I think that is one of the things that gets people up in the morning, is this belief that they're continuing to contribute, and that making a contribution makes continuing to live well worthwhile. And so I think it's an important part of the process.
Fantastic. Well, Tom, thank you again for coming, and indeed your experiences are excellent.
Thank you very much for having me. Glad to be
Tom.
here.
Good.